Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland and today I have a layout to share for Lottie Loves Paper. I'm using the Pinkfresh Studio collection Happy Heart, which is so pretty. I'm starting off with that paper, the one that everyone is in love with. I'm in love with it too. I thought I would cut out all of the lovely beautiful strips there, so you can see that I'm just spending a little bit of time fussy cutting that out, that means also that I get to preserve the other part of the paper, which is good, and also I will just stress the edges, make cuts in between them, and I plan to kind of fold it a little bit in the middle and stick it to a layout with some machine stitching. What I'm planning to do is also where I stick it on my layout, I'm hoping to create some colour with Distress Oxide inks coming down from underneath each one of the rainbow strips. So we shall see how that turns out. Well, I know how it turns out. It looks pretty good. I'm happy with it anyway. There you go. You can see that I've done that cutting, but now I do have to cut in between each one and also distress the edges somewhat as well. Okay, so that bit is done, and I have lightly marked on the layout where it's going to be, and I keep offering up the strips to the paper, the background, the white card, and making sure that it looks okay. And then I'm just going to mimic the colours from that rainbow strip all the way along the layout. I don't have that many Distress Oxides, but you can see I'm doing okay in terms of my collection. I've pulled out a load already that I'm planning to use. And in some cases, I've had to use the same colour for two of the strips and try and go darker in one section and lighter in the next strip. So you can see exactly what it is I'm trying to achieve there, just trying to pull down the colour a little bit further using my ink applicator tools. I had to beg, borrow and steal a couple of the colours as well because my Distress Oxide stash isn't vast, I luckily was at a crop and other people had them available too, so and I may have purchased some more as well since then, because obviously I need those colours, so yeah. Anyway, so this bit takes a little bit of time, I'm going to you can see exactly what I'm doing. I just pick up the colour, pull it down from where it is, make sure that the strips kind of match up, keep offering it up to make sure it looks okay and that my ink is showing enough underneath it. I'm just going dragging the colour a little bit further down the page to extend those beautiful strips of colour. So that part is now done, and I've also recreated the same strips of colour onto a spare piece of white card. And I've got this cut file, You're My Person by Peartree Cutfiles, and I've decided to back the letters with those same colours of Distress Oxide. So I've mimicked the same strips, colourful strips, but just onto a separate piece of white card, and then I have gone round it with a pencil and cut it out. So you can see where my colours are just about right. They're not perfect, but they're pretty similar, and that can then sit on top of the colourful strips. So yeah, I'm really happy with how that looks. I just need to actually stick that on now to this this cut file. You see that I've cut out the pieces, all the letters, sorry, as one large piece, rather than backfill each letter individually. That's a definite time saver as far as I'm concerned. I use a fine tip glue bottle that I've had for years, and I just have a regular PVA in there, and it works really well. So I just get this very fine amount of glue out, and it works well for doing something like this where you need a very narrow amount of glue. So that's how I backfilled that. I'm also going to cut out the middle of the letters. I always feel that they should be done. Sometimes I don't want to bother, but I always am happy with myself when I do that. So I like how it looks to have those middle sections cut out rather than just the the middle stuck on top. Just personal preference, I think, isn't it? And to me, it looks better if there's a hole where there should be a hole. So that's what I'm doing there, just sticking those last bits back on. And you can see even with those really, really tiny bits, I'm able to use my little fine tip glue bottle there. I still have the odd mistake, so I just need to trim any excess and make sure that fits perfectly. And then I'm going to raise the whole thing up on foam pads. So first of all, my strips are machine sewed across the middle with a few rows of machine stitching, 3 I think. But the rest of them are completely loose. So I'm just going to add some foam pads under each one of those, and that will give me some good dimension, top and bottom. And then my You Are My Person or You're My Person cut file will also be raised on foam pads, and that will sit across the middle line as well. I'm really quite pleased with how this turned out. I wasn't quite sure if it was going to work. I wasn't sure what I was going to backfill the letters in. I just knew I wanted to do this with the strips and extend the colour down. I did think whether I could possibly just do half of those strips and use the other half of them to backfill the letters. But in the end, I'm happy with what I went for. Now I have this really lovely feature title on top of that fabulous colourful background. There we go. It looks really good, doesn't it? I'm really happy with how that looks. Raising it up on foam pads just provides the extra shadows to give it dimension and make it look lovely. So definitely a step worth taking. So I've got photos of me and my husband on a night out, a very rare night out. We don't get to go out very often without the children. We had babysitters, which was amazing. So off we went and went out for dinner with some friends, and we had that wonderful drink called a Peartree. Well, that was super yummy. Anyway. So date night, fun. So I'm going to have my photo bottom left. I tried to get 2 photos in, but I'll just have to save the other one for a different layout. I've gone for the one bottom left corner, and I want to embellish tone on tone or colour on colour, which is something that I love to do. I always love the effect of it. So my photo's going to go there. So I just wanted to create a couple of little layers underneath my photo just by using some ephemera. In the end, I think I go for one of the pockets because it was the right colour. I'm also planning to use some floral ephemera, but it's quite big. It's not really that big, but it's quite big when I've only got very tiny spaces to use it. So I had to be quite careful with what ephemera I could use. I also needed to tuck it under certain things in order to make it fit. So I had to make sure that it didn't take away from the rest of the layout. So you can see that I'm just trying things out, tucking things in. I've got some flowers top left. I've got some flowers bottom right of the word person. And I've got some other ephemera, love you. And then I've got the titles, the title ephemera together and fancy. And then, I'm just kind of continuing to see what will work in terms of this. It's really the size that's the problem here. I need little things in order to embellish the background, because I also don't want to make it too busy that I overshadow the big feature title. So I just need to get the balance right and be a bit careful. So here we go. I've found the pocket that I want to use behind my photo. So I'm going to put that in there, and then the 2 journaling cards I picked out for layers, I'm just going to tuck in there. I really like how that looked. That was the perfect solution to that little cluster there. It wasn't looking too good otherwise, but I do need something down the bottom as well. That word fun can't go there. I don't think it ends up on the layout at all, actually. It was fun, but it just didn't quite work. There wasn't really a space for it. I say it was quite difficult at this point to add much to the layout because it is already really quite busy. So I just needed to make sure I didn't overload it. So all the things that I've decided I'm going to keep, I have stuck in place now. I've added a little wood veneer phrase at the bottom of the photo that says hello, together with a little leaf sprig as well. Just adding some enamel dots because everyone loves enamel dots, don't they? And they are the little embellishments that work well in something like this. And also I find that puffy stickers are normally quite small, and they normally work well too. So I'm adding a few of those, got a couple of hearts and some little words as well. So I've got hello. What else have I got on there? It might be the only ones that I use. And I've got some small pieces of ephemera, or the word yay I've just added there. Some small pieces of ephemera as well, so like the little cactus in a pot, and the word that says yay, and other little labels as well. So it's all kind of come together really nicely. There is not loads on this layout, yet it does feel, I feel that it does feel quite busy at that top section. Obviously there's a big area of white space at the bottom, but yeah, I just felt that I needed to go careful to not overload it. I wanted to add a few splatters in the same colours that I had used to make my paper strips. I wasn't sure if I was going to go kind of crazy or just try to get it on the white card and only stick around the photo or not. But I did add a bit. I did add a few more. I went all along the bottom edge and extended those down in some places as well. So again, all the same colours pretty much that I used before. Just mix them with a little bit of water on a craft sheet and pick them up with my paintbrush to make a kind of a paint, I suppose, so I could splatter with it. So there we go. That's the final two, the light pink and the dark pink going on there. Yeah, I'm pretty much finished. I need to write some journaling onto this layout. So I'm going to do that underneath the photo, and then also to the right of the photo, I'm going to put a label or an arrow. I'm going to draw in an arrow to label my my cocktail, because the story was, you know, what I've written on there is about the fact that we went out for dinner without the children, but I didn't get the information about the cocktail in there, so I needed to do that in a slightly different way. So I put that over to the right. So you'll probably see in a minute. So yeah, so it's nearly finished apart from the journaling. So just going to get that down. And then I'm going to call that done. There's no sequins on this layout. There's no white paint on this layout. So I just had to did have to like kind of rein myself in to stop myself from adding too much more to a layout that was already quite busy. So there we go. All done. And I hope that you have enjoyed this layout. I really, really enjoyed making this one. I love it. I think it's my favourite one so far. So yeah, don't forget to check out the Pinkfresh Studio Happy Heart collection. You can see that all in the Lottie Loves Paper shop. Thank you so very much for joining me today. That was Nikki Rowland for Lottie Loves Paper using Pinkfresh Studio Happy Heart.